Hope everybody had a good summer. We certainly think we did on a personal front, and then also I think the team's been doing a good job in the workouts and all the things they're supposed to be doing. So happy about that. A couple of medical updates. Had 2 serious injuries in spring ball, Aaron Menz and Wes Dvorak. They're both working back right now, but to put a realistic time frame on when they can return, or if they'll return, is tough to do at this point. So those 2 guys are out there. Got a couple other guys that are working back that aren't quite full speed, but getting close. Hopefully they'll be ready to go in August. We still have 2 weeks here, not quite 2 weeks. And then Tokes and Kyle Taylor both are not going to be able to play medically, moving forward. So they both have taken red shirts, medical red shirts. So just an update on that. And then just, roster-wise, I think everybody pretty much knows as much as I know. Micah Sargent joined us back in June. Happy about that. Manny Ragumba, Nate Weiland, and Cam Harrell have all transitioned, and they're going other directions. So those guys are all, that's kind of the update on that. And then the only other thing, obviously, not pleased about what we learned about Brady Reef this past weekend. I had a chance to visit with him today, and he's going to go through a couple of steps, but one of the items of interest will be he'll be suspended from the first game, so amongst some other activities. So that's kind of where that's at. So pretty much gives you an update, and I'll happy to answer questions.
Cedric Boswell around anymore?
He's also going to leave, or has left. Yeah, he's going to transfer.
Romeo McKnight also?
Yeah, Romeo left.
I think Illinois State or something?
Romeo left, a while back.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just You didn't mention Spencer Williams either. He wasn't on the roster that we saw.
Spencer took a medical back in the spring, actually. Yep.
Okay.
We were kind of working through that.
When you say medical, like Tokes?
All 3 of those guys are permanent medicals.
Permanent. Okay.
They're done playing. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately.
So
Spencer was sometime in May, I guess. Yeah.
Spencer, Kyle, and
Tokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do scholarship-wise? Do those go to walk-ons? What's kind of the plan, at least for this fall?
We've got a little room right now, and like every year, we have a couple guys that we think are really in prime position to earn those scholarships. So we'll see how the camp pans out, but I think we have a couple guys in mind right there that are in prime position. And then, what we don't use will carry over to recruiting.
Now, Sargent, is he on scholarship, and what do you think of him? How does he compete in that position?
It's interesting with him. What piqued my attention the most, we knew what he was doing over at Western, obviously, Davion coming from there. But Calvin Bell saw him play live back the first week of December that weekend, and he made the comment to me after getting back that he really thought he was a Division I football player and could be a really good running back for us. So, at that point we didn't really have room. It didn't make sense for us, at least in our minds. But then as we move forward, and with Tokes' news becoming final, it just made perfect sense, and he's been absolutely tremendous. He got here the first week of June. He's been in the program all summer, just a tremendous young man, and we think he can be a really good football player on top of it.
So does he get his AA degree then from Western, and he's got 3 years to play?
He was a predictor coming out,
okay.
So he was not there because of eligibility reasons, so he's good to go.
One of the things that's come up is gambling being legalized and injury reports. How would you feel about that?
We'll do what everybody else does, and I assume if we go to this, I say we in Big Ten universities, I'm assuming we're not going to go alone. I would think, it'll be all 5 power conferences with a set formula. The NFL's got it pretty much spelled out. So, if that's what we choose to adapt, then we'll go with it.
Manny Ragumba, why do you think that didn't work out, and what has been communicated to you why he's leaving?
We sat down sometime, I guess, late June, and it was before the 4th break, and just kind of came to a mutual discussion or mutual conclusion that it's probably the best thing for him to get a fresh start somewhere else, and it's as simple as that.
Since then, freshman eligibility, the 4 games.
Yeah.
How are you looking at that, and how do you keep evaluation open, and how do you juggle all this stuff?
First of all, I think it's a really good thing, and the most obvious benefactor would be a quarterback. It really allows you to do some things with the freshman quarterback if you're in that position, which we've been a couple of times. So that would have been helpful and beneficial because you just never know how it's going to play out. So that's a good thing. And then I look at it kind of two-sided. It gives you an opportunity early in the season maybe to test drive somebody and see how they come along. And if it just doesn't look like it's going to work or materialize, then you can pull back and protect that year. Then flipping it around, there are going to be other guys I think that start to ascend during the course of the season. So it's not necessarily due to injury or attrition. That could happen, but it might be just that a guy, this guy's really coming on. He could help us through the last couple games.
Do you see, for coaches, it's two different hats, though. The evaluation hat and guys who are going to actually be in there. Will your players still have to show they belong? I mean, do we say test drive? They got to go out there and perform.
Well, yeah, you base everything based on what you can evaluate, which is practice and just how they handle the rigors with freshmen, the rigors of being in college football, and the time demands, all those kinds of things that are tough for an adjustment during an adjustment period. So, that's what but you still never know what's going to happen when a guy gets on the field.
Absolutely.
And it can go either way. Sometimes guys get on the field and just, Nick Easley really came to life when he hit the field last year.
So you'd be open to like a wide receiver, all of a sudden the lights on for him and like week 11?
Anybody. They can help us win.
Yeah.
All for it.
How do you look at the free safety position with Brandon coming back and Jake played well at the end of last year?
It's a good problem to have if it ends up being a problem. So, we'll just play it by ear. Good news is all, at least not all, I think all those guys are pretty versatile, quite frankly. The two you just mentioned are. So, we'll play it by ear, but, if we get to that point, it's going to be a good thing.
When you say versatile, are you talking about maybe moving one into the linebacker spot like you did with Ward last year? Is that a possibility?
I know Phil talked about that a little bit. I don't know if it'd be a permanent thing or something we do by game, depending on who we're playing. But for a lot of the teams that we play, it makes sense. You could do that kind of package if in fact that's the best personnel group that you have. And there's still a lot of unknowns with the linebackers right now too, so it gives us some flexibility potentially.
Have you had any more time over the summer to reflect on passing Coach Fry this year and what that means to you, or have you had a chance to talk to Aiden?
I got to see him back in April, but I haven't thought a lot about it, quite honestly, especially since the last time I met with the media. So, nothing's really changed other than I think I joked about earlier. It's made me think about all the games that could have been, would have been, and had we gotten any one of those, this would be a dead topic, which would be really nice, but unfortunately, that just ain't playing out that way.
I've heard a lot of come to the Northern Illinois game and see Kirk Ferentz break the record. I'm sure that probably makes you cringe a little bit when you hear that.
I hate any of that kind of stuff. And my request really, quite frankly, is going to be, once we get to August here, next time I see you'll be in August, we're going to talk about 18 and not what's happened before. So, I realize it's relevant right now. It's a topic, and I get that. And not much any of us can do about it. But once we get to August, it's straight ahead on the 18th.
Have you noticed some of that, though?
I haven't heard that, but I'm not traveling in the same circles, I've been seeing more grandkids.
Okay.
They get in free and,
True.
They don't watch a game too close, I don't think.
So is Brian and Eric Chenander, if they had any nice discussions like they did when Eric was out in Oregon?
Things probably changed a little bit on that front. And Eric's a great guy. I think all of us are really proud of what he's done. And it's again, we talk about all the guys that go on to pro football, but Eric's a guy who was a walk-on, in there with Will Lack, that group, and just did a great job day in and day out. But to see him have professional success has been fantastic, and he's doing it at the highest level.
What about that series right now? Every year you get kind of asked about that here, Nebraska, Iowa. I mean, is there going to be a permanence to it once this little 2-year thing go with Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's an opportunity. I don't have final word on that, but I think that's my sense is that's what everybody's hoping for. And that's unfortunate it didn't work out. Whatever years we're switching away, but it just seems like it's natural. I think Wisconsin was playing Minnesota, so it seemed like everything was nice, orderly, made sense. So we blew it up and started over again.
It seemed like the Big Ten had a lot of equity in that series. I mean, if you place it last, it kind of is the showcase, whether it's a rivalry series, whatever game, especially on Black Friday.
To me, it gives us a lot of weekend matchups that weekend that are like that. And the Black Friday thing was appealing to us. It wasn't our idea, but it was appealing. Something they've been doing for a long time before we ever got involved. But I think everybody in our party, I don't want to speak for Gary, but I think we all thought it was a pretty good deal.
Has the new kickoff rule, have you guys absorb that? What is your plan?
Yes and no. I mean, it's going to be a big topic. We've talked about it, but not in great detail. And it's a really interesting rule, and I think it really is going to lead to some interesting discussion. Just right here at the front end, I would just say there's probably not going to be a set formula because there are a lot of variables. If you need a play, certainly that's a consideration. If you got a really dynamic return guy, that's a consideration. But anytime you try to bring one out, all you got to do is miss one block and you're inside the 20. That's not good. So the odds tell you just take it on the 25, but it may not be that simple.
Conversely, do you just not kick it out of the end zone?
That's another conversation, probably. Yeah,
but you guys showed last year Miguel was actually pretty good at popping that.
We had a good thing going. Yeah, I don't want to assume that's going to happen again this year, but boy, if it did, I'd be really happy. We had a good thing going on the kick team last year.
When you look back at we've been through a cycle now, the new recruiting rules. What do you think? I mean, the official visits earlier, things like that.
As I said last time we met, it's just it's something I think all of us in college football are going to learn as we go. I'm pleased with the way we've handled it thus far. I think we kind of looked at it as one shift, and for the most part, we're able to get the people we want on campus in June. Our initial, I think, as you guys know, our initial thought was not to bring in official visits, and then as you go through it, it became pretty apparent that made sense. So it's kind of like we've closed the book on chapter 1, and now we're gonna. And there are a handful of guys right now that we really have strong interest in. And then I'm sure that's going to expand. Actually, it's amazing when guys play their senior years, prospects emerge. I'm saying everything about Mike Daniels or Hyde or King, those type of guys. So hopefully that'll be the case. Hopefully those guys aren't signed somewhere else already. But I think that's kind of how we're looking at it. We're going to start chapter 2 here pretty shortly.
Does your 20 ring out at all? I mean, Hayden went 20, and that was enough. Does your 20 mean anything to you at all? Making it that far?
Not really. Yeah, not. I mean, I'm appreciative, and I feel very fortunate. I know there's a lot of factors that went into that. So I feel very, very fortunate and appreciative. But I hope there's a lot more to come, I hope.
What do you expect behind the cornerback now, without Manny, without Josh Jackson, probably two guys you maybe thought you would have originally in 18?
Kramer came on this spring, and then I think the other guy that's really, to me, trending upward right now is Josh Turner. He's had a really good summer, and guys ran on Friday. He ran like a champ, so that's really encouraging because he was young back in the spring. But he's starting to show signs of maybe being the guy we thought we recruited, so that's encouraging. And we have an open mind towards the first-year guys too. We'll let those guys all come in and compete. And typically in the back end, we've ended up that way. You go back historically. So I think there's some potential there. We'll just kind of see how things all shake out.
Do you look at Hooker at all in a nickel corner position, or is he strictly going to be safe?
He'll be somewhere inside. He's another guy who can probably play linebacker pretty well, but. Yeah, I mean, we're thinking about him inside safety. Yeah.
Sergeant, is he poised to make a real run at being, the 20 carry, the 15 carry? Or is that just hard to say right now?
I mean, that's one thing for sure. I always not make fun of, but I poke fun at the watch list because, if you let her, basically, you get on a watch list, it seems like, nowadays. But, one thing, the Doak Walker list was safe with our candidates since none of our guys had a carry last year. So we're really young there. So I think, we really liked what we saw at Torn. This is not a reflection on what we saw at Torn or Ivory. It's more so just the depth right now, concerned about that. I think we have 2 good freshmen joining us. But, Mikai's a little bit older. He's been around a little bit. He's a little bit more mature physically and mentally. So I think it made a lot of sense. And I'm not saying he's James Butler, but there's some similarities, I think, in terms of the kind of player they are. And, his personality seems to be like that, too. Just a really eager, anxious, appreciative guy.
Was Levi's injury in the spring, was that really bad?
It's not really bad.
Cole and we're moving up?
Cole's doing a good job. Levi's still working back from that. He's one of the guys I was kind of alluding to. So we're hoping he'll be full speed in August. If he's not, I could foresee us having him, although we have 1-a-days now, so I don't know. If it was 2-a-days, he wouldn't be in 2-a-days probably, but I think we just got to be mindful of where he's at. Cole's done a nice job. Cole's zero's going up right now.
One more.
And gives us versatility, center guard, so that's good.
So what's the first day of practice?
It is, as far as I know, it's August 3rd. I'm 100% sure of that one. 6:50, I think, to be exact, in the evening because we have finals that day. But so that's the first day, and not that you're asking, but I'll make a suggestion. I think it would be really smart in the name of player welfare. The whole idea is give kids more recovery time, that type of thing, which is fine. My recommendation would be in years forward. It's the first time we've had 25 practices. They gave us 29 to get them in. I would say go 30 or 31 calendar days, me personally. But that's my 2 cents after going through thinking methodically, looking at. It'd be nice to have another day or two just to give the guys some time off their feet. But we'll see. It'll change. Like everything else, it'll change. Okay. Thanks.